to study about basics of digital radiography in short, and we will be studying about charge coupled device in detail. The first question is, what is the basic difference between conventional radiography and digital radiography? In conventional radiography, X-ray photons exposes a sheet of film. Now, what do you mean by photons? Photons are nothing but bundles of energy. Okay, so in conventional radiography, X-ray photons exposes a sheet of film, and the resulting image has a resolution that is defined by silver halide grains in the film emulsion. Okay, now what do you mean by resolution? The detail an image holds within it, an amount of information that is available in an image. Okay, that is known as resolution. In conventional radiography, X-ray photons exposes a sheet of film, and the resulting image has a resolution that is defined by silver halide grains in the film emulsion, and the exposed processed film can be viewed on a light box. Okay, so this is about conventional radiography. In digital radiography, our detector is getting exposed by X-ray photons. Radiation can't be pursued by our normal senses, right? Hence, we need a suitable device to measure and detect the amount and energy of radiation. Okay, so detectors are used in digital radiography to detect and measure the amount and energy of radiation. In digital radiography, a detector is getting exposed by X-ray photons, and the resulting image has a resolution that is defined within the picture elements or pixels. A pixel is a word that is framed from picture element. So this image, this digital image, can be viewed on a computer, and it can be stored on a computer, and it can be shared over the internet. To store any image on a computer, it must be broken down into tiny elements. So these tiny elements are known as pixels. In a digital image, multiple pixels are arranged in rows and columns. Okay, so this is row and this is column. So in a digital image, multiple pixels are arranged in rows and columns. Okay, so this is about digital radiography. To understand more about a digital image, we need to have some idea about its types. Okay, so here we have different types of digital image. We have binary image, black and white image, grayscale image, and also we have color image. As I cannot explain the nature of these images verbally, I am attaching the image formats in my video. Kindly have a look. So now let's look at binary image. Binary is all about zeros and ones. Okay, so these images usually have two colors, the one being black and another being white. So 0 is represented by black and 1 is represented by white. Each pixel in this type of image will be having one of the two colors, but not both of the two colors. They will have black in a pixel or white in a pixel, but they won't have both colors in the same pixel. Okay, and each pixel in this type of image needs only one bit of storage space. What do you mean by bit? Bit refers to smallest piece of information. Okay, so these images are not very clear. Sometimes it's very difficult to understand what the image tries to convey to us. Okay, so this is about binary image. So next we have black and white image. So this black and white image is very much similar to that of a binary image, but the storage requirement is slightly higher here. Okay, so each pixel in this type of black and white image needs 8 bits of storage space. Okay, so this black and white image needs 8 bit storage space in each pixel, but this binary image needs only 1 bit of storage space in each pixel. And all other features of black and white images similar to that of a binary image. So like binary image, these black and white images will be having black or white color in a pixel. They won't have both the colors in the same pixel. Next we have grayscale image. So this grayscale image comprises of different shades of black and white. Okay, so it has different shades of black and white, and the shade varies from 0 to 255. 0 stands for pure black and 255 stands for pure white. In between 0 to 255 we have grayscale. Okay, so now let's see this matrix. Pure black starts with 0 and it keeps on increasing, and the dominance of white comes below. So this is 255. Okay, so in between 0 to 255 we have gray scale. Okay, so all the boxes in the matrix represent the transition that happened from pure black to pure white. So next we have color image. In color image, each pixel will be having 3 colors, namely red, blue and green, and each color needs 8 bits of storage space. So totally 24 bits of storage space is needed for a pixel in case of color image, which provides enriched quality for the image. Now let's study about our topic of interest, charge coupled device or CCD. As I mentioned earlier, detectors are used to detect and measure the amount and energy of radiation. So this CCD or charge coupled device is a highly sensitive photon detector, and this CCD was introduced to our dentistry in the year 1987. Okay, so it's basically a chip. Chip is like a small flat piece of some material. So this CCD chip is a small flat piece of semiconductor material, and it is an integrated circuit. So it will be having a set of electronic circuits. So CCD is an integrated circuit. So it will be having a set of electronic circuits on a small flat piece of semiconductor material. That semiconductor material is mostly silicon. Next we need to study about conductors, insulators and semiconductors. Conductors are the substances in which electric charge moves freely. Insulators are the substances which do not allow electric charge to move freely through them. Semiconductors are the substances having their conductivity intermediate between conductors and insulators. Okay, so conductors allow electric charge to move freely through them. Insulators won't allow electric charge to move freely through them, and semiconductors will have their conductivity intermediate between conductors and insulators. Next we need to study about energy band levels of the matter. As per band theory of conduction, matter is made up of 3 energy levels. So we have valence band, filled band and conduction band. Valence band is the lower energy band whose electrons are loosely attached to particular atoms. Okay, so in valence band, electrons are not tied up to particular atoms or individual atoms. Then below the valence band we have filled band, which do not contribute to electrical conduction. Hence this filled band is not normally included in an energy band diagram. Just above the valence band we have conduction band. This is the highest energy band whose electrons are tied up to particular atoms. They are tightly attached to particular atoms. In between conduction band and valence band we have one gap. That gap is known as forbidden gap. If there is no forbidden gap, electrons can move easily from valence band to conduction band. In case of conductors, there is no forbidden gap. So electrons can move easily from valence band to conduction band. In case of insulators, this forbidden gap is more. It is more than 9 electron volts. Okay, so electrons won't move easily from valence band to conduction band. In case of semiconductors, this forbidden gap is very less. At low temperature, a semiconductor material will behave like an insulator. Why it is behaving like an insulator? At low temperature, there is lack of sufficient energy. So, electrons won't move easily from valence band to conduction band. When we rise the temperature in a semiconductor material, number of flow of electrons increases. That leads to higher conductivity. So, as we rise the temperature in a semiconductor material, electrons leave the valence band to the conduction band. that leads to creation of holes. Holes are nothing but vacant spaces in an atom. Removal of electron means removal of negative charge. So positive charge will be formed in the area of vacant space. So if an atom loses its electron, it becomes positive. It's like when you give up on a negative habit, you become positive. So a positive charge will be formed in the area of vacant space, that is known as hole. Best example for a semiconductor material is silicon. Next, we are going to study about doping. What is doping? To create additional energy levels, we are adding certain impurities to pure semiconductor material. Here the semiconductor material is silicon. So here we are adding certain impurities to pure silicon. So this process is known as doping. By doping, two types of semiconductor materials are formed. The first type is N-type and the second type is P-type. How this N-type semiconductor material is getting formed? When a pentavalent impurity such as phosphorus is added to pure silicon atom, which is having 4 valence electrons, 1, 2, 3 and 4. This phosphorus is having 5 valence electrons, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's why it is called as pentavalent impurity. When it is added to pure silicon atom, 4 out of 5 valence electrons can form covalent bond with the adjacent silicon atom. Okay, so this can form covalent bond with this valence electron, and this valence electron can form covalent bond with this valence electron. This can form covalent bond with this valence electron, and this can form covalent bond with this valence electron. But the 5th valence electron of phosphorus atom is not associated with any covalent bond. This electron is free now, which is responsible for electrical conduction. So in N-type semiconductors, electrons are the majority charge carriers. What is a covalent bond? Now let's see this diagram. This is one hydrogen atom and this is one hydrogen atom. A hydrogen atom usually have only one valence electron. Now this hydrogen atom is combining with this hydrogen atom with the help of covalent bond that leads to formation of hydrogen molecule. Okay, so this covalent bond formation occurs when pairs of electrons are shared between two atoms. So here electron sharing is happening between this hydrogen atom and this hydrogen atom. That leads to formation of hydrogen molecule, and this covalent bond is very strong. A lot of energy is needed to break them. So like this, phosphorus atom is forming covalent bond with adjacent silicon atom. How this P-type semiconductor material is getting formed? When a trivalent impurity such as boron is added to pure silicon atom, which is having 4 valence electrons, 1, 2, 3 and 4. And boron is having 3 valence electrons, 1, 2, 3. When this impurity is added to pure silicon atom, 3 valence electrons of boron atom can form covalent bond with the adjacent silicon atom. So this valence electron can combine with this valence electron with the help of covalent bond, and this valence electron can form covalent bond with this valence electron, and this can form covalent bond with this valence electron. But this 4th valence electron of the silicon atom is unable to form covalent bond with the adjacent boron atom because boron is having only 3 valence electrons. Okay, now this missing valence electron is known as hole. Okay, as I said earlier, any vacant space in an atom is taken to have a positive charge. That is known as hole. In P-type semiconductors, holes are the majority charge carriers. They are positive charge carriers. In N-type semiconductors, electrons are the majority charge carriers. In the last part, we studied about semiconductor materials and its types, role of a semiconductor material in electrical conduction. So, our CCD is made up of a semiconductor material, that is silicon. Silicon in CCD have been etched with photoactive regions. So these photoactive regions are for capturing X-ray photons, and these photoactive regions are made up of metal oxide semiconductor capacitors. The role of a capacitor is to store electrical energy in an electrical field. So in CCD assembly, each capacitor acts as an individual pixel, and these capacitors are built into arrays, which means they are built into multiple rows and columns for capturing X-ray photons. CCD assembly also has a dense matrix of photodiodes. The function of photodiode is to convert captured X-ray photons into electrical current. Current is generated when X-ray photons are absorbed in the photodiode. When a photon of sufficient energy strikes the diode, an electrical hole pair is created. And this process is known as photoelectric effect, which is fundamental to the operation of a CCD or charge coupled device. As we already know that when the electrons leave from the valence band to the conduction band, electrical current is created. Now, how this electrical current is created with the help of a photodiode in a CCD assembly, or how a charge packet is created in each pixel with the help of a photodiode in CCD assembly. Now, let's see everything in detail. When p-type semiconductors and n-type semiconductors are joined together, p-n junction diode will be formed. As we already know that in p-type, holes are the majority charge carriers, and in n-type, electrons are the majority charge carriers. So when this junction is formed, majority charge carriers will diffuse across this junction. So electrons in the n region diffuse to the p region, and holes in the p region diffuse to the n region. That leads to formation of electron hole pairs, and this process is known as electron hole recombination. After a short interval of time, that is at equilibrium, negative charges are concentrated on the p region close to the junction between p region and n region, and positive charges are concentrated on the n region close to the junction between p region and n region. So now one electrical field is created close to the junction between p region and n region. This electrical field acts as a barrier to prevent further flow of charges across this junction. So this barrier is known as potential barrier. So now there is no diffusion of electrons from the n region to p region and holes from the p region to n region. Now we need to break this potential barrier. How we are going to break this potential barrier? If we break this potential barrier, we can allow creation of charge packet or electrical current. This potential barrier is always there even if the device is not connected to an external voltage source. We are going to break this potential barrier by applying an external voltage. The applied external voltage should be greater than the barrier voltage. Then only this potential barrier breaks. The process of applying voltage is known as bias. We have two types of bias. One is forward bias and another one is reverse bias. When the photodiode is forwardly biased, charge packet is created in each pixel. In a forward biasing condition, P region is connected to the positive terminal of an external voltage source, and N region is connected to the negative terminal of an external voltage source. Positive terminal is anode and negative terminal is cathode. Both are electrodes. In P region, we have majority of holes. They are positive charge carriers. So these positive charges are now repelled by this positive terminal. As we all know that opposite charges attract each other and like charges repel each other. So these holes are repelled by this positive terminal and they are driven towards the junction. Like this, electrons in the N region are repelled by negative terminal of an external voltage source and they are driven towards the junction. Now holes in the P region are closer to the junction and electrons in the N region are closer to the junction. When we rise the voltage gradually, electrons in the N region and holes in the P region will diffuse across the junction. That leads to formation of electron hole pairs. The number of electron hole pairs that are formed is directly proportional to the amount of exposure that an area receives. Because of the continuous diffusion of charges across the junction, when we rise the voltage, this potential barrier disappears. Because of the continuous flow of charges across the junction, because of the continuous diffusion of electrons from the N region to P region, there is production of current. So there is creation of packets of charges. So these packets are known as charge packets. So in each pixel we have one charge packet. So like this, charge packets are created in each pixel. So all these are happening in single pixel. What is a reverse biasing condition? In reverse biasing condition, this P region is connected to the negative terminal of an external voltage source and N region is connected to the positive terminal of an external voltage source. Opposite charges attract each other, like charges repel each other. So in P region we have majority of holes, positive charge carriers. So these positive charge carriers are attracted by the negative terminal of an external voltage source. Like this, negative charge carriers are attracted by the positive terminal of an external voltage source in the N region. Now what happens? This potential barrier widens. There is no flow of charges across the junction, so there is no current flow. Current is nothing but rate of flow of electrical charge. Next we are going to study about charge reading phase in a CCD. How charge packets are processed to form a digital image. In each pixel we have one charge packet. So this is one pixel column, this is one pixel column, this is one pixel column. All the charge packets in this pixel column are transferred to vertical shift transfer in single step. So like this, in this pixel column also, all the charge packets are transferred to vertical shift transfer in single step. This vertical shift transfer is located between two adjacent pixel columns. Charge packets in each vertical shift transfer is now going to horizontal shift transfer. From the horizontal shift transfer, electrical current signal is reaching an amplifier. The role of an amplifier is to increase the power of a signal. Okay, now this electrical current signal is amplified. The amplified electrical current signal is now reaching the analog to digital converter. This analog to digital converter converts analog electrical current signal into digital units. Finally, we can see a digital image on the computer screen. In some CCD assembly, we won't be having this vertical shift transfer and horizontal shift transfer. In that case, charge packet in each pixel is transferred to next pixel along its row. Finally, it is reaching the pixel in the end of the row. Finally, all the charge packets are collected at the corner pixel. And this charge reading phase is similar to that of bucket brigade fashion. What is bucket brigade fashion? Charge reading phase in a CCD is similar to that of a water storage mechanism. That's why it is called as bucket brigade fashion. In bucket brigade fashion, each bucket is acting as an individual pixel with certain amount of water in it. Here, water is charge packet and bucket is pixel. Water in each bucket is transferred to the next bucket along its row. Finally, it is reaching the bucket which is present in the end of the row. In all these rows, water in the end bucket is finally reaching this storage bucket. So this is the storage bucket. So this mechanism is similar to that of a charge reading phase in a CCD. That's why it is called as bucket brigade fashion. So charge packets from the corner pixel is now going to the amplifier. With the help of amplifier, electrical current signal is getting amplified. With the help of an analog to digital converter, analog electrical current signal is converted into digital units. So finally we can see the image on a computer. Apart from capacitors and photodiodes, CCD also has following these structures. A layer of scintillating material is added to the silicon surface because CCD detectors are more sensitive to light photons than X-ray photons. In order to convert X-ray photons into light photons, a layer of scintillating material is added to the silicon surface. Examples for scintillating materials includes cesium iodide, gadolinium oxybromide. To prevent parasitic capacitance, a layer of insulating material, mostly silicon dioxide, is added to the silicon surface. What you mean by parasitic capacitance? It is an unavoidable or unwanted capacitance that develops between the electrical components because of the proximity of these components with each other. Thereby, this insulating layer improves the device performance. Optical fibers are also added to the silicon surface to improve resolution. CCD assembly also comprises of 3 sets of electrodes. First set of electrodes are for charge packet creation. The 2 sets of electrodes are for moving charge packets out of the CCD.